There is something about it, something you cannot fake. When an older man speaks and his words land, they land differently. Not louder, not smoother, but deeper. There is a weight behind them, a gravity, a stillness that younger voices have not yet earned. And when that kind of man looks at you and says something true, it does not just touch your ears. It reaches your bones, it settles in your chest like something you always knew but never heard out loud. If this is the kind of content that makes you pause, that makes you think, that makes you feel something you cannot quite explain, then subscribe to this channel. Stay here, because what we talk about here is not surface. It is foundation, it is depth, it is truth. Now let me tell you something. Not every compliment is equal. Some words are thrown like confetti, cheap and scattered. They mean nothing. They dissolve before they land. They are designed to impress, not to honor. But some words are placed like stones, carefully, deliberately, with intention. And they remain long after the voice fades, long after the room empties. They stay with you. They live in you. There is a difference between a boy who says you look good and a man who says you carry yourself well. One is about the outside. The other is about the architecture, the structure, the invisible thing you built. When no one was watching, when no one was clapping, when the lights were off and the audience was gone, that is what an older man sees. Not the show, but the scaffolding. Let us begin. The first compliment that hits different from an older man is this. You are not like most people. Now listen carefully. When a younger man says this, it often means you surprised him. You did not fit his small box. His limited experience gave him a narrow frame, and you exceeded it. That is not deep. That is just exposure. But when an older man says it, he has seen thousands of people. He has watched patterns repeat decade after decade. He has seen masks and performances, and people pretending to be what they are not. He has watched people break under pressure. He has watched people lie when the truth was easier. So when he tells you you are not like most people, he means it. He has the catalog, the reference points, the years of evidence, and he is telling you that something about you broke the pattern, that something in your presence did not match the noise. That is not flattery. That is recognition, and recognition from a man who has lived long enough to see everything twice. That is rare, that is sacred. Hold it close. The second compliment, you do not need to prove anything. This one will shake you because you have been proving yourself your entire life to your family, to your workplace, to friends who kept score, to people who never even asked but somehow made you feel like you owed them. Evidence of your worth. You have been performing, earning, showing, justifying your space every single day without rest, without recognition. And then a man with gray temples and steady eyes and decades behind him looks at you and says, you do not need to prove anything. And something inside you cracks open. Not because he gave you permission, but because he saw what you were doing to yourself. He saw the weight, the invisible labor, the quiet exhaustion of a woman always earning her right to exist, her right to take up space, her right to breathe without apology. And he said stop, not with force but with truth. That kind of compliment does not make you feel pretty. It makes you feel free. It makes you feel seen in a way that terrifies you because you forgot what it felt like to be witnessed without performing first. The third one, you remind me of someone I deeply respect. Now this is not comparison, this is alignment, this is lineage. When an older man says this, he is connecting you to a woman who shaped him. His mother perhaps, a mentor, a teacher, a woman who walked into a room and changed its temperature. A woman who changed the direction of his life without raising her voice. And when he sees that quality in you, he is not being nostalgic. He is being precise. He is saying you carry something timeless. Something I have only seen in women who mattered, in women who left marks. Not on skin but on character. Not on paper but on souls. That compliment is an inheritance. Accept it, let it sit on your shoulders like a mantle, because it was not given lightly. It was earned by the woman before you, and now passed to you. The fourth, you are the cult person in this room. Let me tell you why this one cuts deep, deeper than you expect. Because the world rewards noise. It rewards reaction. It rewards the loudest voice and the fastest response. It rewards chaos disguised as passion, and drama disguised as strength. But an older man knows something different. He knows that power is not volume. Power is stillness. Power is the woman who does not flinch, who does not rush, who does not react from emotion alone, who lets the chaos spin and remains exactly where she is, unmoved, unshaken, present. When a man of experience notices your calm, he is not commenting on your mood. He is not saying you seem relaxed. He is honoring your discipline, your warfare, because calm is not passive. Calm is a choice. Calm is warfare without casualties. Calm is dominance without destruction. And he sees that. He respects that because he knows how many years it takes, how many storms it costs to master that kind of silence. And you have mastered it, even if you do not fully see it yet. The fifth compliment. You are going to be fine. This one sounds simple, almost too simple, but context is everything. When you are falling apart, when nothing makes sense, when the ground beneath you feels like sand, and every plane you made has crumbled into dust, and the future looks like a blank wall, and an older man who has survived his own disasters, who has buried dreams and rebuilt from rubble, who has lost things he will never speak about, looks at you and says, "You are going to be fine." That is not optimism, that is testimony. He is not guessing, he is remembering. He walked through fire, and he is still standing. He walked through loss, and he is still whole. And he sees in you the same thing that kept him alive. A refusal to quit. A stubbornness that looks like softness, but is made of iron, wrapped in grace, coated in patience, but iron nonetheless. You are going to be fine from a man like that is not a wish. It is a verdict. It is a prophecy, spoken by someone who earned the right to prophecy. Believe him. The sixth compliment. You do not tolerate nonsense. And I admire that. This one matters more than you think, because so many women are taught to be agreeable, to smooth things over, to make peace even at their own expense, to smile when they are burning, to nod when they disagree, to shrink when they should stand. And when you stop doing that, when you finally stop, some people call you difficult, they call you cold, they call you too much, they call you intimidating, as if your strength is an inconvenience to their comfort. But an older man with real life behind him, with scars and lessons and years of watching, people destroy themselves by being too agreeable, sees it differently. He sees a woman who chose herself, not out of arrogance, but out of survival. He sees a woman who learned the hard way that boundaries are not walls, they are doors. And you decide who walks through and who stays outside. When that man says, "I admire that he is not performing," he has nothing to gain, nothing to prove, no angle to work. He is simply telling the truth, because the truth is all he has left to offer, and it is more than enough. It is everything. If this is resonating with you, if you feel something moving inside your chest, something warm, something ancient, something true, then take a moment, hit subscribe because there is more here for you, and you deserve content that speaks to who you are becoming. Not just who you were, not just where you have been, but where you are going. Now the seventh compliment, whoever raised you did something right. This one will stop you dead in your tracks because maybe you raised yourself. Maybe the people who were supposed to guide you were not there. Maybe the chairs were empty at the table where your parents should have sat. Maybe you built your own compass from broken pieces and conflicting maps and sheer will. But when an older man says this, he is not praising your parents. He is praising the result. He is praising you. He is saying somewhere in the chaos, somewhere in the wreckage, something took root, something good, something unshakable, something beautiful, and it grew despite the drought, despite the storms, despite the neglect, despite every reason it should not have survived. He is complimenting your fruit, not your soil. And for a woman who built herself from nothing, who raised herself, who mothered herself, who fathered herself, who became her own village, that is everything. It means someone sees the harvest, not just the hard ground. It means your work was not invisible. It was not wasted. It was just waiting for the right eyes, for the right moment, for the right witness. And he is that witness. And now the eighth, the last one, the one that stays long after the conversation ends, long after his face fades, long after the room is empty. This one remains. You do not need me or anyone to tell you what you are worth. Read that again in your mind slowly. Let's each word land. You do not need me or anyone to tell you what you are worth. When an older man says this, he is doing something most people never do. He is removing himself from your validation system. He is stepping back from the pedestal you might place him on. He is telling you that your worth is not located in the opinion of others. Not in his eyes, not in anyone's gaze, not in applause, not in followers, not in love, not in desire. It lives inside of you. Self-contained, self-sourced, self-sustained, unshakable, unbreakable, already complete. That is the most powerful compliment a man can give a woman because it does not attach. It does not create dependency. It does not build a cage made of praise. It does not chain you to his approval. It sets you free completely permanently. And it tells you that the only voice that should define your value is your own. Not louder, not softer, not filtered, yours. Now let me say something to Every woman listening to this right now in this moment. Wherever you are, whatever you are carrying, you have been hungry for these words. Not because you are weak, not because you are broken, not because you are incomplete, but because the world has been feeding you the wrong things for years. It fed you attention instead of respect. It fed you excitement. Instead of peace, it fed you followers. Instead of foundations, it fed you noise instead of truth. And now you are starving in the middle of abundance, surrounded by everything but nourished by nothing. Because none of it was real nourishment. None of it fed your soul. None of it touched the part of you that actually needed to be touched. These compliments hit different, not because of who says them, not because of age or experience alone, but because of what they honor. They honor your stillness, your discipline, your backbone, your refusal to shrink, your ability to keep going when the world gave you every reason to stop, every excuse to quit, every permission to collapse, and you did not. They honor your architecture, not your appearance, your depth, not your surface, your roots, not your petals, your foundation, not your decoration. And that is what you have been waiting to hear. Not that you are beautiful. You already know that the mirror told you, the world told you. That was never the question. The question was, am I seen? Am I known? Am I valued for what lives beneath the surface? And the answer from a man who has lived long enough to know. The difference between beauty and substance is yes. You are seen, you are known, you are valued, not for what you show, but for what you are. At the core, in the silence, in the dark, when no one is watching. That is where your worth lives, and it is blinding. Do not dim it. Do not shrink it. Do not package it for someone else's comfort. Do not fold yourself into a smaller shape so that smaller minds can understand you. Let it burn at its own pace, in its own way, on its own terms, and the right people will see it. The right man will recognize it, not because he wants to own it, not because he wants to control it, but because he has learned that some things are not to be held. They are to be witnessed and honored and left wild, left free, left untamed. You are not looking for someone to complete you. You are never incomplete. You are looking for someone brave enough to stand beside you without needing you, to be less without needing you, to be quieter without needing you, to dim your fire so his can seem brighter. That is the standard. That is the frequency, that is the baseline, and you will not find it by lowering your voice. You will not find it by abandoning your truth. You will find it by owning it. Every note, every silence, every scar, every lesson, every storm you survived, every night you endured, every tear you swallowed, every time you stood back up when the world knocked you down. You are not too much. You never were. Not once, not ever. You were just surrounded by people without the capacity to hold what you are. People too small for your enormity. People too shallow for your depth. But that era is ending. It is closing behind you like a door you will never walk through again. And this one, this new chapter, this next season belongs to you. Unfiltered, unedited, unafraid, unapologetic, uncontained. If this reached you, if something in these words felt like coming home, felt like medicine, felt like something you did not know you were missing, then subscribe. Share this with a woman who needs to hear it tonight. A sister, a mother, a friend, a stranger who is carrying weight she has never spoken about. Send her this and come back, because this is where we build something different. Not louder, not faster, not flashier, but truer, deeper, realer. You deserve that. More than you know, more than anyone has ever told.